We start at the beginning. Who is Diesel, D Power, and growing up, what were you listening to in the household?
Alright, well, first thing first, Diesel, D Power. I'm a member of the GRIME scene, one of the founders of the GRIME scene, been here from the start, still here now. Started off as a DJ, then started producing, then became an MC, artist. But I used to run pirate radio at the beginning of time, the beginning of GRIME first. So yeah, that's Diesel D Power.
So growing up, were you hearing certain type of music, your musical influence? Were you hearing certain types of music in the house, or you grew around some people that introduced you to certain music?
Both. So my dad and my uncle had labels, reggae labels. They worked with like Beres, Hammond, Luciano and all that, Exterminator and Vision Records. So that's the label Sizzler came up on, and a few others. So yeah, my dad's always had a studio in the Caribbean, studio here. Fatis, who RIP's passed away now, he had Exterminator. So I always had reggae in my house. My brother was a DJ as well. But then my UK influence came in from drum and bass, which a family member of mine's DJ Ron. So my dad used to give Ron like remix work with reggae works and stuff like that. So Ron used to kind of look after me, give me a couple bits, like some tunes and that. So I first started off in drum and bass, and me and Nicky Slimting and a guy called Hustler Morris and Jammer as well, we went Leytonstone School. So Hustler Morris, he's got a very big role in like product placements and that now, but he was the one that kind of set off. He got a show on Choice FM when we used to be in school just by blagging it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So he used to take us to like Kenny Ken, like Shy FX, like just bare people. He had the gift of the gab. So like he just used to he used to use the office phone, like our head of year's office phone in school, to phone all these people, like phoning Choice, all these, like, when I think back, I was like, whoa, like he was a proper hustler. And then he got us on radio and stuff like that. And so that was the start of me getting into the music on the UK and that, starting off as a DJ. And then like Slimton got it onto Cool FM at a young age, like he was still in school. So we was just like trying our hardest to get into like the drum and bass scene. So like basically, the drum and bass scene was hard. The lineups are still the same to this day, 30 years gone. Apart, X and Herbs, who was with us, X-Man and Herbs, do you know what I mean? So basically, the first station I got on, Deluxe took me on to Pressure FM. They was in Bow, Derek B owned it. That's where I met Rico and X and Herbs. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And we became really good friends, and then I started doing sets with them and stuff like that. And so I was on there. Then when I left school now and went to college, a friend, Derek Pringle from Bow, said to me, oh, you should link up with a guy I know called Genius, who owns Rinse. So then G was like, yeah, he wants to meet me, because I'd been DJing, so like my name was ringing a little bit just from the DJing, me and Slimting from like the other side of East, like, because I'm from Walthamstow, Slimting's from Leighton, we're from Waltham Forest, so like Wiley, Rico, all them lot, they're from Bow. So when I linked this Bow boy at Epping Forest College, he's like, come to my house, like you can jam at my house, you need to come. Bow is alive for music. I went to this boy's house. I probably didn't leave his house for like a year. And I owe him so much. Derek Pringle, his mum, everyone, like they had me in Bow. Everyone just thought I was from Bow. And do you get what? I was in Bow for ages. And then I met G. Then we was doing Rinse. I started moving about with G, and then I met Slimzy. I met Wiley, because the studio was in Wiley's dad's house in the Pink Blocks. Then when I went up there, I met Target, everyone, like all the Roll Deep Threes, all them, man, you get me? Like bare man in Wiley's bedroom, like, and the studio was in the next room, you get me? I'll never forget when I walked in, Wiley was sitting on like, because I was into BMXs, he was sitting on like a BMX with he had like a seat, like it was like a GT seat though, like with the bends. I was like, what, he's just sitting on the GT seat just like that, bro, you get me? So then like, I went and done radio, then after we was talking and then I was just we was about, so me and Genius was kind of good mates. Then I got him a studio in Leighton. They needed a studio, so we was in Leighton for a while near my bits. And then G's nan moved out of a house in Salmon Lane in Bethlehem, I think it is. And then we put the studio, but we still had the keys. So they moved her, they was gonna knock the blocks down, but not for like 6 months or so. So we had the keys, like me and G basically lived there. And then Rinse was in there as well, so we was there for time. I was on Rinse. So we was doing that. Then, we kind of like, the music started changing, garage started coming in. Because we was doing drum and bass these times on Rinse and Pressure and that. We was all playing jungle, and R.I.P. Trend, he was like a guy, legend. Like he had a big tune in the drum, like we couldn't believe it. He was one of us, you get me? And he had a big tune and that was like one of the only guys like from us lot that really got in at that point. So we kind of, when garage started coming in, Slimzy, Ace and Plague started spitting over it. And then in the mix of them garage tunes, Slimzy was playing slowed down drum and bass tunes. And Ace and Plague was murking. Like everyone was into it. So they was playing garage, but they was playing like hard beats and them lot was murking lyrics. They started Pay As You Go. So that Pay As You Go was just Slimzy, Ace and Plague.
Fundamental.
Yeah, Sunday, yeah, Pay As You Go. And then when everyone started taking to it, you had God's Gift, Maxwell D, Wiley, the rest of them joined. But like, so everyone started doing the garage thing kind of thing now. But these times, I linked back up with Deluxe. So while I was on Rinse, Randy C had fell out with Sting, split up. Deja was already doing their thing from Massive before I got there. So when I got there with Deluxe. So I was there while Randy was still there. But when I started playing, because they had the big DJs like Mike Roughcut and all that, was on Deja and all the garage lot that was killing it. I had like some graveyard shift, but we used to do some rave every Friday, innit? So I just used to go to the Deja rave every Friday so I could stay up to do my show. Like mad times in the morning. But then as I got to know Randy and everyone else, I got my set got changed a bit. Then Randy fell out with Sting. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I was like, boy, I know radio. But then when Randy left, he took all his DJs. So there was no DJs on Deja, like really. There was like just a few. So that's when I had a rig and stuff, and then Sting came to my house. He was like, yeah, let's do this thing. I was like, well, I got a couple man that can DJ like from my end and that. So there was like Gappy Rider, Shawnee B, Ozzy, they became More Fire Crew. With Nico, then they brought Lethal in after. Oh, okay. You get what I'm trying to say? So Shawnee being Gappy was like More Fire Crew with Ozzy. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah, and then Nico, and then Lethal. So had them. Then New Brand Flex was like Slim Thing's cousin, Twister. His dad was there. We used to go to their house and play and mix and that. So I gave them a show, Richie Montana, and that's how like New Brand Flex, Sass Killer and Tiny Temper and that got on the radio.
So when you were doing that, taking the risk,
yeah,
were you just doing it off the strength of I'm gonna give you a shot?
Yeah, I give you a shot and I know you can mix and that. Plus, I ain't got no DJs, cousin. So I'm building this around us, man, you get me? So some of us at first on Deja, like Too Tough Crew, R.I.P. Baby Sham and that, like, we all had like 3-4 shows on the radio, because like, Deja was a station that's always on, innit? But at first we didn't have all the DJs, so I got them, and then really I just started putting everything into More Fire Crew, really. And then we started busting up the place. And Dream. You get me? So it was like dream thingy. So we started busting up the place a bit because we got such a wide range of listeners from before. Like we was very on Rinse's tail quickly with Pay As You Go and that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So then during that period and that, when Deja was coming up a bit, we was just doing our thing. There weren't many people. There was more DJs than anything, and just a few MCs. Then Nasty Crew came about. They done like a dub for Pay As You Go or something like that, so they was never getting on Rinse. But and radio faired them because of the reputation they had because of Marcus and that. So no one wanted to fuck with them. But I met up with them. I said, come to the club, let's meet up and chat. They came, I said like, boom, like usual work, like you gotta do this, but just normal stuff. Like you get what I'm saying? Like you've got to just abide by the radio rules, but obviously if you do this you'll get a sick time thingy. We was all cool, we spoke it out, Storming, Sharky, Marcus, Matt 10. You get me, RIP Storming. So then they came on. Then that was a problem. That was a serious problem. Like they went off. Like Nasty Crew went off, and then I just felt the powers. So then like Wiley phoned me, he was like, we need a show on Deja. So I was like, bruv, you know no one can't really go on both stations. But at this time, me and G kind of like linked back up and that. I can't remember exactly how it went, but we was all blessed. And so they owned Summer Deja, then it got to a point man owned Summer Rinse, and man was working together, you get what I'm saying? So not a lot of people knew that, and then Pay As You Go done their birthday bash at EQ, that was massive, and like they done like the Pay As You Go SIM card flyer things that looked like the top up things that first come out. Yeah, it was legendary, like their man was massive. So
and I feel like people need to understand the scene at that time, to see something like Pay As You Go, you will not understand the scope of what they were doing.
It was massive. Like it was massive, and then they dropped stuff like No We and all that while he was producing them bangers. So it was like Gift, and Gift was on like Mike Tribute. He had a big tune going off. Like he was one of the first to have a big tune with the Garage Man then, because he done that Mike Tribute tune. So he took us to shows that we weren't getting behind stage, like Cause of Nostrils, all this stuff. Do you get me?
How was it? Was the relationship with the Garage lot, how was it?
No, Grime only started because they had a meeting. They wanted us out of Garage.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, they all clubbed together and said, "Them, you put them Grime, them kids, them crews, then we ain't playing." And they was the name. So, but then where was Merkin so much? That's what kind of fucked them. Like we could have been one, because girls loved what they was doing as well in the dancing side and the less vocal side of it. So mixing both of them was good. But it got to a point where the money they wanted and the money we was getting at first, we was jamming dances. So it just evolved. Even like the Cos of Nostrils, all the big dances that they was doing, there was like 3-4 crews on them now. Like Roadie, East Coast Nasty, this, that. So when it started getting up like that, by this time loads of people have done their thing, like More Fire had come through, Big Tune Oi and stuff. I'd met Skepta and them lot, they came.
What year is this? 01? Where we're at now?
Where we're at now when, yeah, we're at 01, easily 01, maybe even 2000.
More Fire. That's what
yeah, 01, because when More Fire had it was when they was basically the face of Deja, Unstoppable. So, and then they linked up with man's brethren, Chubby, and that's who made Oi and them things, Chubby Tread, you get me? So, it was like, when they had all these tunes and stuff going on, it was just loads. So, yeah, it must have been like 2001, but then from like, it must be late 001, 002 is when Roadie, Meridian, then I met Russ. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And a essentials from South. Because Bionics used to be in South a lot.
That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Because us, South and West,
Yeah.
we're looking outside in.
Yeah. So when Bionics
Like
first
that.
said to me, like, yeah, I've got a crew from South, I was like, Bionics, get out of there. But we used to do our thing together. I was like, bro, look how much people were waiting to get on the VU. You get me? From my doorstep. But then he was like, nah, these, trust me, they got producer. This was Da Vinci. So he was like, they got producer. He was like, these, do me a favor, bruv. Like, you get me? Like, blood, trust me. Like, Bionics was on my case, you get me? So I was like, you know what? Ain't man linked me. Then they linked me, played me the beats. I was like, oh my God. This guy can play keys like Da Vinci had back, like Jenny, all them tunes like dubs. They done me everything. So when I heard that, I was like, Jesus Christ, these lot are gonna be a problem. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So they got a show, that was it. They didn't watch No Face, they got in the mix, they weren't shook, they just come over, done their thing, set up their thing, and was murking. And, you know what I mean? So that was good, they was there, and that brought the South element into it. Yeah.
Explain like actual settings of like, what did Deja look like? How did you have to get up there? Like how?
Alright, well, by this time we got to the roof. So basically, we used to hire studios or let people let us come in their yards and have one room. But like that always used to just end up one way. Then we had a studio in Forest Gate that was sick. It was like soundproof downstairs. You could one in there, everything, and then it got flooded or something. So it was fucked. But then Sting bought EQ, like Powerhouse, like Waterden Road, the big club. So at first we used to have it in a small room. So that's why Deja was so gassed. We was on like a 15K with like big system, like beating big monitors in your ears, like in the club, like bare man, like. So it was a mad vibe. It was like we're in a club banging out radio. Then sometimes I might put it in the main room to get me. So I had it rigged, but then Sting was on our case because it's a club, everyone keeps nicking drinks. To get one, so they're necking it and I got to pay for it. So like Sting's like, no, bare Red Bulls. Like, and the man of bait as well. They're not just throwing them in the bin so he comes there, it's normal. Could just be a club night and he sold bare drinks. But because they leave them about, he knows, innit? Like, yeah, these lot are necking the drink. So he was like, nah, you lot got to get out of the club. Remember, it's bare, man. Like, so, and the club's just, they're just in the club, you get me? So then, he kicked us out. He said, oh, there's a hut on the roof. I said, get lost, bruv. No way, bruv. Man ain't going on the roof. I know that roof was fucked, you get me, bro? Sorry for the language, but it's like, I was like, nah, man. But then we had like one caretaker guy that basically lived in the club that worked there, like, so I was like, Ali, his name was a legend. So we gave him some money. I was like, Ali, you need to clean this place out, you get me, bro? So, and it was just a tight space. It looks much bigger than it is on the thing.
Bigger than this?
About the same size or a little smaller because it's got metal beams in it, so it takes up the space and that. So when I went in there, I was like, nah, man, this is fucked. Do you get me? But instead, man caused it, so I was like, nah, this is fucked, bro. We got to work with it. And then that was it, bro. That was it, bro. That place is then after that, everything was kind of formed by the time we got up there in terms of the rotation and the schedules for Deja. So like, we kind of turned it into a Monday night thing for the grime lot. So you'd have like Meridian, you'd have Roddy, you'd have the East Coast, you'd have More Fire, Too Tough, and Remand crew. And then Tuesday and a couple other, you'd have a few other crews in that. But like it was cold. It was cold, and then I started doing the dances, like Young Man Standing and that. And then they was just like roadblocks. And the thing with them is because there was no internet them days, people made up their own mind of what people looks like through they was hearing off the radio. So people like God's Gift with a deep voice, they just said, yeah, this guy's 7'4", 20 stone. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So the images they built up in their head, they never quite got it right. Do you get me? So when they came to an event now, Young Man Standing, and they actually saw, I used to just look at them and see how like in shock and
Because
because everything's happening. You're hearing the lyric that you've heard for the last 6 months or whatever. You're seeing the person spray it that you've never seen them in your life. You think you know them because you've heard them so much, but you don't know what they look like. So now you're getting to see what they look like and what they sound like, and it's just all lows. And then it was just a sick vibe. And then that way we used to see who the biggest MCs were and who everyone loved. You get me? Like, so it was like you go radio. If you get on the radio, then you got to get on Young Man Standing and Rumble and Stampede and the other things that we was doing, and then you're in the game. It's up to you from there.
Did some people struggle with the transitioning from a set to a stage? Was it intimidating? Obviously, because everyone's young, they haven't really done this before.
Surprisingly, there was not many people that couldn't transit because the energy from, do you know what I mean? And they're spitters, they spitting on radio.
That's the art form.
Yeah, it's the art form, so nothing changed. All it was is that people's here now. You've been in this club to do radio. You're in the same club, murking. You've done this and probably imagined in your head that people was out there when we're just doing radio sets because you're doing it in the club. So now the difference is there's 3,000 people. And they know your lyric, but they don't know you. So when you step up to the mic, no one's gonna cheer. They don't know who you are. But as soon as you say that first word, it's enough.
So obviously, what is the feeling like? Seeing this forward, you've taken it to the club. I would have been in amazement. Did you think this was even possible?
Yeah, to me, we'd made it because we were selling vinyls as well. And even people who weren't in a good position or as high or on Deja, they could sell 1,000 vinyls easily at £3, 1 vinyl a month, 2 vinyls a month. So like everybody was making money. If you was like Wiley and putting out 5 vinyls, he's getting like, sometimes he's getting 5, 6, even one stage it got to £10 a vinyl he was getting. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like one-siders, tenors he was getting. So it's like the money, to me, we'd made it. But then you had people like Wiley, Lethal Beat especially, that thought, you know what?
Underrated story.
We can be bigger than this. And Lethal was the one that I think, even though Dizzy went, Lethal saw the vision of the superstar thing, of being able to do it your own. Because even me and Lethal fell out before in that period, and so he wasn't on Deja for a while after Oi and all that, because we just had a nice, he's from my estate and fucking, we had silly little squabbles just growing up, you get what I'm saying? So when we did rekindle the friendship, he just had power floating about him. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So then he came back onto the radio and stuff, and then he said he was going to shoot his own video. In these terms, it was never heard of. So when he said that, I was like, wow. Like, I didn't know what to think. At first, I tell you the truth, I thought he's not going to pull this off. What do you mean shoot your own video? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one had done that. And this tune was doing well. Do you know what I mean? The first DJ Mackie, I think, he was the first person I heard playing it then. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I was like, alright, then Lethal done me up. And I was like, yeah, no, this is cold. He said he's shooting a video. Then he got the video shot. He did it. And then he dropped it. God help the nation. The tune went off like I've never seen before. Unreal. Like, it had its own moment. Like, how? That's it. It was crazy. Like, it was banned from venues. You get there, it was up on the DJ. You cannot play power in this venue. People were smashing up venues and they heard it. It was like, so Lethal just knew, you know what, but we can be superstars. And he went for it and he risked his money and it paid off for him, you know what I mean?
So how was it, obviously, because we've seen loads of people come through.
Yeah.
Obviously touching it a bit there, seeing
Dizzy
come through.
Yeah.
But what was that like? Because for me, I was a lot younger than that generation, not too much.
Yeah.
Like he was the one. Like when he came, it felt to us.
Yeah, it took me a while to get into Dizzy until he come to Deja. And how he come to Deja was crazy. Because I've gone to switch the radio once, so I go to a tower block across the road from his house where he lived, Dizzy. A tall tower block. He went there to get fish and chips. Me and Ozzy, I dragged Ozzy from Moorfire. Ozzy be along with me. He will remember this day. We went up, switched the radio on, come down. I wanted something from the chip shop. Went in there. Dizzy was in there. He was like, Diesel. He's like, yeah. He goes, you don't know me, but I know you. I said, yeah. He said, I'm gonna be on Young Man Standing and I'm coming on your radio soon. I said who? You get me? He goes, bro, trust me. He goes, ask Wiley. So I said, alright, cool. And then Ozzy was like, nah, he's cold. I heard him on Heat, whatever, Dizzy, he's cold, you get me? So I was like, alright, cool. Then, mad thing, about 3-4 days later, Wiley phoned me. He was like, yeah, I got this kid to bring up. Just bringing in radio. Come up. Then he was about. Do you know what I mean? Then he used to do a lot of shows with Nasty Crew.
I heard this. I heard he kind of started there.
Yeah. He was with Nasty Crew. I think he was even on the Join Nasty Crew. I don't know what he was, so I can't speak on that. But he was there doing a good few shows, and the production as well. Do you get what? So he had beats and bars licking down. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like Dizzy was exceptional, man. He was exceptional at that time. Like. And there was loads of others exceptional, but he was just determined just to do this thing. He was less distracted, I think, man.
Who are you the most proud of?
Yeah.
As you've seen everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
To you, who are you the most proud of to see? It doesn't have to be this one. Who are you proud of?
I'm proud of Kano. But I thought he would do what he's doing because he's been disciplined from the start. He never came radio and got involved in no bullshit. He never got involved in no bullshit. Like, he just minded his own business and done his thing when it's his time. Who else? Gets, because of his journey as well. Like, when I met Gets, was a gas guy just come out of jail and was coming Deja no matter what no one said. So, him and Titch, you get what I'm trying to say? So, Gets, especially because I thought there was a time where his talents might have been overlooked to a certain degree, and it hasn't been. So Gets, I'm very proud of the growth in his attitude, everything. Like, it's inspirational. Who he is as a human being now, compared to the Gets you would have met on the roof. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, he knows what Gets was on the roof, you get me? And like, what Gets you got now, you get me? So, very proud of Gets. And Bizzle, very proud of Bizzle, because he didn't stop. He just done his thing, he had the vision. Skepta, especially, and more for Skepta because he pushed boundaries. Do you get what I'm trying to say? He wants to do things, that no one else has done. Do you get? That's his thing. Like, he doesn't want to do nothing no one else has done. Like, and that is something that is truly inspirational. That to always want to do something that ain't been done before. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And he's not involved in no stupidness. And a lot of them, like Kano, Gets, like, you don't see them getting involved in no stupid. Do you get what I'm saying? They take like their things proper. Yeah, like they take it serious, their legacy and all that stuff. So like Skeps. Who else from there that is still going? They're like the main hitters. I don't want to forget no one. There's loads others, but we'll just get into it. But the ones that stick out from there is Bizzle, Gets, Will obviously, and a few others still.
So those are iconic sets there.
Yeah.
Any personal favourites?
Personal one that there ain't no visual for it, but there is audio, was when Titch and Boys in the Hood came up and East Coast clashed, because that was a real one.
So there, before we go into that, East Connection, talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so that was like, that was the crew I started in. So it was like me, Slim Ting, Maximum, like Frisky, it's DJs. Then there was like varied lineups. Most of them was in pay as you go, this, that.
Yeah, I always felt like there was like 30, 50 people.
Yeah, like they just do what they doing, and it's me on the radio. So they just want to do the set in it and just blow up. So we know it's, and you know what? I didn't mind, because it's just whatever. It's the scene. I like MCs. I've always liked MCs. I want to DJ with MCs, and it was good to always be able to bust new MCs.
So how was it like? Because obviously you had members from all over.
Yeah.
How was it? Because people have to understand it was back then the roads were a bit tense.
Yeah,
still.
Cool.
So how was it like when getting people from other areas? How did you contact them? Like how did they come into play? Because
it was East, but
so we're outside trying to come into.
It was like, yeah, because you see the radio's a safe haven. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Nothing can't really go down at Deja anyway. Do you get what I'm trying to say? The potential has always been there, but then there's people about that can just not tell people what to do, but just get it calmed down. Whereas other places, they might just watch and see it go off. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I would never let no one fight or do mad thing to each other when they've gone to do mad things. I'm always in the middle. Do you get what I'm trying? If I'm there, if I'm not there, there's nothing, because it's a roof. If we go outside, we could just walk off the roof. It's about 100-foot drop, so it weren't a joke. Everyone's on the roof. We was rarely on the roof and in the hut. So when you come out the hut, you're just on a big roof. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, it was dangerous, the different ends, but it's like, there was different people in different ends spread it about within the grime scene. So even if we had a couple people from a certain area that we wasn't from in East Coast, they might be some of them in nasty crews. So they, do you get? It wasn't too out there. Yeah. So it was alright, but them times the music and the road was so close that it was hard work as well, man. Yeah. It was so much hard work a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, even down to people thinking they could just start radio stations and do what I'm doing. And then they would be phoning man and harassing man. You get me? Like, gangsters trying to do radio and thinking you're just gonna set up and it's gonna do what Deja does. You're gonna have raves and all this stuff. So then they tried that and they tried all that stuff. Nothing worked. I just done my thing.
So you managed to maintain it for a while.
Yeah.
Things happened.
Yeah.
They tried to shut the scene down.
Yeah. The main thing with Deja is, I've said it a couple times, I'll tell you on your interview. The reason we would come off Deja is because the beef we was having amongst the artists. And then Deja was after Mandy C, it was me and Sting. Sting was the guy with the money, the studio thingy. I did all the lineup. I put the radio on. That's our contribution. That's what I bring to the table. He brings the money and helps man do what man's doing. You get what I'm saying? So Sting's tight. If he can save money, save money. So Fatal come along and was like, yeah, I'll set up, but he wants a bit of the radio. So now there's 3 people in it. So at the time, Funky House started busting up the place. And Fatal wanted to lead this Funky House scene and be the champion of it. And all that was standing in his way was grime. So when I had another madness and it was like madness at the radio, and people run up on the radio, this has gone off, it's spilled out into the streets, feds, this, that, man, shots have gone off, this, that, it's just gone crazy. So then, Sting and Fatal were like, oh man, the radio's gonna get, bruv, it's pirate radio, what are you talking about, bro? Like, we string up, like, we don't conform to nothing. What do you mean a bad name? So, we need to keep going, because this thing's blowing up. Then he said, nah, all them crews, they're losing their things. We're voting to us two vote. There's 3 votes in it. Us two vote, no more grime. Obviously, they can't kick me off. So I have my 2 shows, but then everybody just has to come on when it's my 2 shows. So I was like, nah, that can't work. Bounced and started the next station, Raw. You get me?
That's so sad.
So that was the main reason everyone come off of Deja, and it wasn't even nothing to do with everybody. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It was just like few people doing shit because they couldn't get on the VU no more. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So they just wanted it to mash up, and they kind of got what they wanted. But that was only because Funky House was on the up and Sting believed in fate. You know what I mean?
So was that happening everywhere? Like
yeah, Funky House. Yeah, it was everywhere. It was everywhere.
And then, you know,
yeah,
March,
and then people was getting banned. Yeah, like the ban come. No grime artists. That was shortly after incidents, like things that happened with Titch and stuff like that. Do you get that? But it was going down, and we only had ourselves to blame. Like MCs and DJs are shooting each other, trying to shoot each other outside Sidewinder and stuff like this. It was crazy. Like so, like it was, what did you expect was going to happen? Do you know what I mean? So that happened, and I think in that era of that time, Boy Better Know and Movement definitely kept grime alive. Fundamentals, yeah, and man like Spooky and the other DJs and that was going to radio still and doing grime because loads of people fell off and wasn't doing nothing.
It's a scary time because people are going to do popish kind of stuff.
Yeah, popish songs were coming out. People was going after the bag. Like, so it was like, you just felt late to do grime and that. Like, it was like, wow, what's going on? But them man weren't having it. Do you get me? They weren't having it. And like, obviously us, like, we stuck right here. Yeah, we stuck to the grind. Yeah, like P-Moneys and people like that.
It wasn't a tough scene, it was still there.
It was there, but it was like, they were so used to so many artists being produced by the grime scene to hit the streets and hit the thingy. When it stopped producing, that's why they think it's dead. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because every year you would have someone new, 1 or 2 people. Do you get what I'm saying? So where it kind of stopped churning out as many artists, but what it made happen is that the artists that were there, they had to sort themselves out and get into artist mode now. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
There's benefits. It elevated to see what's possible. Just try and stick to your craft, master it.
And that's what it was.
And then eventually over time. Do you know what I mean?
But like, there was loads of people that kept this scene alive over that time when everything got banned and stuck at it, and they now are successful in grime and they deserve every penny of it. I think, do you know what I mean? Because they had to put their money where their mouths were. They had to go and do a lot of stuff, so I think everyone's got what they deserve out of grime. No one's been hard done by. No one. If you ain't done it, that's because you're inconsistent, not because you're rubbish. You're inconsistent, you've had other things, you haven't prioritised, you haven't made sacrifices for music. So that's why they're there and you're not there. But it's not because you're rubbish or you didn't have the same opportunities, you get what I'm saying?
No, definitely. So, are you happy with the scene currently? Your thoughts on it now? Obviously you're building back up the roof and stuff. Let's start with recently released Volume 2.
Graphene, yeah.
Let's talk us through that project.
Well, that's off the back of 1, because 1 was like a really successful project due to the fact that Skeppy jumped out and tuned with Sniper. So that was so sad as well because we'd done that and it was lockdown. And like, you get me? So like the tune, like it done so much in Germany, Australia, they was trying to get us there, couldn't get out, couldn't get to Australia, couldn't get to Germany, it was doing well here. So it was like, I was just sitting there on my phone, like indoors in lockdown, dropped this tune, it's banging down, like no shows, nothing. Luckily Skept had done some pay-per-view thing with Dummy Mag, I think it was. We done 1 show, like, bruv, to be out, and it was just like us lot and bare drinking that and the filming crew and that, you get me? But we done 1 show, I was grateful Sketch brought me out for that, and then like, that was it. it was just lockdown. So then like we done no shows. I didn't do no shows off that EP, and it streamed so much. It done well. I had the Irie tune with Footsie and that. I had a tune with Will, jams, productions, a couple beats as well. So that done well. That done really well. And then Volume 2. I kind of got a bit lazy last year because of the lockdown. As soon as it opened up, I was in restaurants, partying and messing about. Because man was, yeah. So like, man was just messing about. So then I looked and the year was nearly finished. I thought, just locked everything off like I wasn't doing nothing, and then just went to the studio and went away to the like cottage I stayed at and just wrote and just got it together. Then just linked up with everyone that got the features, got it all together. Just went away, got it mixed, and then dropped it. And that hopefully everyone loves it, but the feedback's been good. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's been, and it's done very well, and I'm grateful to be doing things in music still now.
Solid.
Yeah, so I want to drop 3 this year.
You've been talking about a possible big H.
Yeah, I've been.
Look,
H. Yeah, I've got to get H. I'm onto H. H is a mysterious one. Get me, bro. H is such a don. He's a don, but H knows I'm looking for H. I spoke to H. Just got to see if the timing's going to be right for him. Do you know what I mean? Because he's always got his plan of what he's doing, whether it's music or whatever in his life. So, but the fans, everyone, they're like H, but get H outside.
Honestly, solid. Like my couple of favorites. March is my team.
Yeah, the March is one of mine as well. I love the March. I like Frisco and Shorty. Frisco, he killed it. Yeah, Frisco, that's my dog. So, like, the March is done very well. Like, and a lot, like, the March is like, a lot of it is in America as well. Like, a lot of the feedback I'm getting, like, American magazines.
But even just that must be sick to see.
Yeah, like, it's sick, and I'm like, wow, man, we gotta get out now. We gotta go. So,
the thing that started so small.
Yeah, and Skeps has been out, he's done his best, he went and flew out and done grime there, flew with the man them, like other people got to take a chance and go places now, you get what I'm saying? We got to go Europe, we got to use Europe more and do a lot more in Europe, we got to use the whole country more. I think every artist should do a show that has a decent fan base in grime. As soon as they do a release, they should do a show for it. If everyone does a show, it will be, the scene will be busy. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, do a good project and just do a show. If it's one show, if you can do a tour, do a tour. It doesn't have to be no O2s and no, just get the clubs you can get, the ones that you'll be able to half fill or fill out, and just do a show. You get what I'm trying to say, and perform and get the fans to come out, and then you'll see the scenes much busier.
So obviously again, evolutions of grime, culture's still strong.
Yeah.
Talk to them about the roof.
So the roof is basically what used to happen on Deja when everyone used to come and just turn up. What I do now is I select 15 MCs across. Like, I try to keep the levels high, but all generations. It's just not, your grams. Like, someone that's doing work, someone that's putting out work, someone that's trying to build a fan base and wants to do it as their career. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So come together, all different generations, and let's swing, because that's what they want to see. You get what I'm saying? And what I want to do with the roof is as well, if a MC or artist has got a release coming out and they want to do a set with their MCs and their features, they can have a month of the roof. Like, you get your own lineup, bring your you get me? So, and I'll help them push their thing. So that's why I want to build the roof up as a platform that it can do club nights. Artists can use it to promote their EPs, their albums, their singles, and for us to go and swing it out on the mic once a month, you get me?
So it's a monthly?
Yeah, monthly, the roof.
Listen, honestly, it's been an honour that you even came. Like, you're someone that I grew up listening to in my house and then taping.
Yeah, nah, man, I appreciate that, bro. No, it's not even that. Man's got to move with the times as well. Man needs the help and support, especially from people that's been there from day and understand what it is that we're doing.
You need to understand.
Yeah, like every bit helps. Like you, everybody else coming together, working together helps. And this is what we did before. Without us working together and people's thinking they're too big to do this or do that. That's where the problem is.
Definitely.
You get what I'm saying? Love, bro.
Thank you for covering them. Yeah, obviously flowers and these things you definitely deserve. You're grateful. All those people you get opportunities to and stuff. Grateful, man. But we'll definitely catch up and
Yeah,
wish you
definitely.
best of luck.
Love, bro.
Hey, cuz pay attention, cause right now this ain't a joke. It's the class of deja, we're back on some serious smoke.